Good morning. Today is October 13, 2021, and this is the monthly meeting of the Council on Aging Board for the month of October with the COA Director, Holly Lux. As a preliminary matter, this is the Shashi Menon Chair. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. First, I will go through the list of the board members. Virginia Leonard. Virginia, can you please acknowledge?
You're muted.
Sorry. Yes.
All right, good.
Good.
Louise Russell.
Here.
Betsy Zwig.
Here.
Am I saying your last name correctly?
Yeah, that was great. Very good.
Thank you. Jean Campanello.
Here.
Judy Goodstein.
Yes, here.
And the members who are and the staff who are expected today are, of course, Christine, and we're expecting Renee. But I think Renee is not here yet.
No,
She's
not here.
She's
Sorry,
here.
no, Renee is here. Okay. Oh, you're only on the phone?
Oh.
Renee?
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
you should be able to see my photo.
Oh, okay. Now I can see you. All right, good.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I may, so because there is X, Y, and Z amount of members, we may not see everybody at the same time, but we'll see them when they speak. So just so you know, we have a little bit more than we usually do.
All right. Good morning. This open meeting of the Council on Aging Board is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth and due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus, the order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberation of the meeting. For this meeting, the board is convening by Google Meet and is posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please be sure to press *6 to mute your device. The meeting will not feature public comment. Please wait until I open the item for public comment and press *6 to unmute your device. Finally, each vote at this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. The first item on the agenda, meeting is now called to order. The first item is the election of, I was going to say officers, but positions in the board. We have to fill the position of vice chair, and we have to fill the position of recording secretary, and confirm that I can continue as chair for the remainder of the term. The nominees so far are the nominees for position of vice chair is Virginia Leonard, and for the position of recording secretary is Barbara Zwig. Now, I can just go around and just poll everyone and take a roll call vote, but I think it's okay to vote on the slate as a whole. Will someone please make a motion that we do so? Louise.
I move that we accept the slate as presented.
Seconded?
A second.
Good. So now I'll go down the list here and go through the list of attendees. We've got Betsy Zwig.
Yeah, I guess.
Campanello.
Yes.
Virginia.
Yes.
Luis.
Yes.
Motion is carried. So that takes care of item number 1. Holly, is there something you wanted to say before we get into the agenda itself?
No, I'm good. You can keep going.
Can I just ask a question here? Because you didn't ask for my vote on that.
I'm
Is
sorry?
that because you did not ask for my vote on that motion? Is
I
that
did not. I
because?
somehow skipped over you. I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't know if that was because you had enough to carry
No,
or
no,
you forgot me.
I'm looking at my screen and I kind of went around the corner and left you because you were not in the
Oh,
middle. Sorry
'Cause I
about
think,
that.
okay, I just think you need to like
But you
record
need to, yeah,
the
okay.
votes.
Do
Yeah,
I
I
need
vote
to?
yes with everybody else.
Well,
Yes.
procedurally,
Yes.
I don't know. Do we need to do the election again?
No,
Okay, good. So Judy, you're voting in favor of the slate, so we can move on from there. I think we lost Judy's video.
oops, did we lose me? I'm back. I'm here.
Okay, good. The first item on the menu, I mean, on the menu, on the agenda is the vote to change the November meeting to November 3rd. Anybody has any, hang on. Holly has a question.
Nope. So not a question. Just the reason for the change is simply because of the veterans luncheon that we have slotted for November 10th, which is why I want to move it up until the first Wednesday.
All right.
So can I ask a question? Considering
go
the
ahead.
fact that, I'm sorry. Since the meeting ends at 10:30, how would this impact that luncheon since it's a grab and go and not on-site eating?
So there is going to be what I am expecting a lot of people in here trying to get ready for the event. And what I would hate is to dismiss myself prior to having to, like before the end of the meeting.
Okay.
So I would just prefer to push it up the whole week before so we can move forward and I don't have to worry about anything except making the veterans luncheon exactly what it's supposed to be.
Right. So I'm just going to state up front that because of how these meetings are scheduled and how I allocate my time, I can't attend that meeting because I already have obligations that day. So my time allotted would have been for the day it's done. So it really all depends on everybody else's schedule. So for me, it will not work. So I understand what you're saying, but for me personally, that won't work.
Holly?
So I'm just saying that, and I completely understand what you're saying, Virginia, but every now and then, there's going to be a wrench in our agendas and our activities and programs that happen over here. I just want to make sure that I am completely engulfed in making the veterans luncheon and making sure that it comes off 100%. And if I'm not there, I think it looks bad on the senior center, to be honest. So I just want to make sure that I'm present.
Luis? Got to unmute your computer. No, you haven't done it yet.
There's a possibility that I won't be here. We're coming home that night before. If everything goes well, but the way flights are going these days, you can't count on anything.
True.
So if we get in at a decent time the night before, I will be here. But as it shows now, I'm not supposed to get into Boston until 8 o'clock. So when we get home, I don't know. But I'll try to make the meeting, but I can't be assured that I would be here on the 3rd.
Holly?
So I'm just looking at the calendar and I would like to continue to make sure that it's on a Wednesday. So we could push it to the 17th if the 10th and the 3rd is not, applicable for everybody.
No.
There's going to be circumstances where not everybody can attend. And at least like if we have a quorum, that is fine. But like I said, I really want to be 100% at the November 10th Veterans Luncheon. So either way, I would ask that the board asks everybody if they can do the 3rd or the 17th, preferably.
Holly, let me ask you one quick question. Is anybody considered the possibility of, let's say, later in the day, like in the afternoon? Is that a possibility?
For me, afternoons will not work at all, Chachi,
Oh, all right.
honestly.
Jean has
I would
something to
just be
say.
honest, it's just, between Holly, Renee, and myself, we're still people who are working. And so, I very much enjoy and want to continue, and now I'm vice chair, being very active with this. But I allocate my mornings because by the afternoon, Wednesday seems to be my major meeting day. And so I just plug in. So I probably could do the 17th right now. And if we state that, I'll make sure I block it off so nobody tries to put me into a schedule. So if we say that's going to be what we want to do, that'd be great if we can vote on it right now. So I will block my calendar.
Louise, I presume that's okay for you.
Yes, yes.
All right.
So should we take a vote on that?
Yeah.
Someone please propose that we move the November meeting to the 17th.
I propose we move the November meeting of the council and the board meeting to November 17th.
Great.
Seconded?
Second.
Good.
All those in favor, Betsy,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
Virginia,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Louise,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Good.
Should we now, before we get into the body of the meeting itself, several people have asked me, several members that is, have asked me about the strategic plan, why it's being postponed or canceled or put on hold, why those meetings are. Can you touch a little bit on that, Holly?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that at the director's report on item B.
Or is it
What
on
I-
there?
Yep.
Okay, update. All right, we'll get there.
Yep.
Moving right along, gift fund report. Anybody have any questions about that?
So
Louise? Got to unmute, Louise.
I keep forgetting. Is Christine going to go first?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Christine is going to present the report first, and then I have a couple questions.
Well, I thought, all right, go ahead, Christine.
So I'll just go over the summary. Sorry, I got some feedback. So starting at the top, the grant formula grant is just an estimate as we haven't received the
Can you ask them if they still have feedback?
full. Oh, I'm sorry, my computer's being weird. Louise, what's your question?
I had a couple questions on the gift fund, as usual. Let me get the right paper here. These things we had, the plastic scoops, and those kind of things. What is it? Bucket and scoops for winter. Shouldn't that come out of the grant? The winter, what is it called? The winter streets?
Do you want me to take that?
So it did originally come out of the Winter Streets grant, but unfortunately, due to how some of the supplies were given out, that some of them, some salt went out without shovels, some shovels went out without salt. So in order to give a complete package, we had to order additional supplies. So that did come out of the gift fund because it wasn't originally designated to come from that grant.
Oh, okay. What is the walking club?
So over the summer, a walking club was started. I believe it was something that previously happened at the senior center prior to COVID. So we started that up again. And prior to the walking club meeting each week, we provide them with waters and granola bars and just so they have some sustenance for their walks.
So then the water bottles, water bottles listed below that are not included with the walking club. That's something separate.
Yeah, so we keep waters available at the senior center for those who need it, for the walking club, for any of the fitness classes. If somebody
And-
forgets water or doesn't have a container to use the bubbler, we have water bottles available for anybody who might need one.
And the water and snacks. What are the snacks? I thought
There's
we,
just additional water bottles and snacks for groups and other activities that were happening at the center prior to us not being able to eat here at the center. We had originally purchased things for the food pantry, things to have available at the center, and then now with masks, we can't have food at the center, so we're just
that's
making.
where I was surprised. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I know
we
can't have.
bought those before that direction came out, so now they're just kind of part of our food pantry. And as you know, we have a table set up right outside of the reception desk, and those things are available. People can just take them as needed.
Oh, okay. The snow shovels, then that's the same thing that comes under, that didn't get into the grant? Is that something different?
Yeah, we bought additional shovels.
How many did you get for $700?
I didn't place that order myself. That happened while I was out of the office, so I'm not sure the exact number, but I can certainly look that up.
Yeah, that seems like an awful lot for snow shovels, but that's just me.
They are pretty nice shovels. They have a nice blade at the end to get through the ice.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, there's buckets and scoops and all and what are the whistles? What are whistles for?
We had bought whistles to give out. We primarily gave them out at the summer kickoff, but they're just something for seniors to have. The thought process was not in place of, but a step before maybe getting like a life alert button or something like that, where it's something they can have if they fall, or if someone needs assistance, they can blow on the whistle and hopefully someone hears them. But so they were just kind of things that we were giving out to seniors.
Holly, you had something to say?
$180 worth of whistles. I mean, who gets them? I mean, what is how
So,
are they given out?
sure. So,
Louise,
If I-
Holly's been trying to say something.
yeah, thank you. So we did give some out on our June 25th event, and we do have some for gifts that we give out, like if we have programs and things like that. So we still have some here, so it's not as though we've depleted our bunch of whistles that we have. But just as Christine mentioned, that we do use them as kind of tokens when people go away, or come into the senior center, so they have that kind of grab bag, if you will. So we still have them.
So can I ask a question going forward as you evaluate items that you might want to, include or give? Will Renee have some input? Because I guess I'm a bit quizzical about whistles. If you're in your house and you fall, a whistle is going to do you no good. You need to really have life alert, because somebody has to be able to get into your house. I mean, do you realize that's why, of course, when somebody falls or there's an accident, that's why the fire department and the EMS show up at your house in case they have to break in to get into your house. So I think that if we're going to spend money, I mean, not that there was a lot of money, but I think, we should be looking intelligently at what is given. And, you're lucky. I mean, well, I'm going to say you're lucky to have Renee on board now, because Renee has a lot of experience in terms of working in the community setting. So I think she is going to be a really great resource when you're looking at what might make more logical sense to, again, nothing wrong. It's a great idea. It's the good intent is there, but I think it's really going to be good intent along with applicability and actual usefulness for people. People like to take whatever they can get, but you don't want to give something that is like, oh, this is cute. I mean, you're not whistling for your dog. And, and again, I can see if you're walking on a dark street, you might want to have a whistle, but still, I just, some things are really a good idea. I think the sand and stuff, that's a great idea. People need that kind of stuff instead of going off to get, the piles of snow stuff. But, as I said, it's just a question of, getting some input from Renee. And I'm sorry, Holly, I know I'm taking up
Virginia, I
time.
think
And you want
both
to talk.
Renee and Holly have expressed, are they going to, there's something to add to this conversation? Holly, do you want to go first or do you want Renee to go first?
I think Renee can add anything onto it. It was just one of those things where it's not only just for being in the home, but a parking lot, because we don't have the funds available to do life alert and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to give another option in case people had an issue where they needed assistance. Renee, I don't know if you have anything to add on to that.
Well, I think life alerts and whistles are two very different things. Having a whistle, I think you're trying to encourage people to be active outside and feeling safe being active outside. So, having a whistle, if you fall when you're outside, that could be a different thing than falling in the home. Most people who get the medical life alerts, if they're in the home, it only covers their home, and they have to pay a lot extra to get the life alert that actually covers them while they're outside. And some seniors don't want to pay for that, or they can't afford to pay for that. I've done a couple of life alerts with people since I've been here. And the two people who have done that were fortunate enough that they're active and they were willing to pay for those life alerts that cover them outside with the GPS that has the fall alert on there, that if they were down and they couldn't answer their life alert, it senses that they haven't moved or they're horizontal on the ground, and an ambulance gets sent automatically. So they're kind of like two different things.
Holly, did you want to add something to that?
No, I think Renee hit it.
I think Louise had a hand up too. Louise, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering, at a lot of these things, I wonder if you could bring it to the board that we could discuss these things before they actually happen. I know, that there's so many things listed on here that, plant supports and 2 different places. All these things that we don't have any idea what they are, what they're for, what they're doing. It would just be helpful to me, and I hope the rest of the board as well, to have some heads up on these kinds of activities. Just like the air conditioners. I know that we had talked briefly about the air conditioners, but I didn't know that you went ahead with them and bought them. And I don't know how they were given out, who got them, and how many did you get for $3,100? I think that we, to look at this list, I was very surprised when I saw the long list of things that have been bought, that we don't have a clue what we're talking, just like the whistles. We had no idea what was going on. And I think if we had some previous knowledge of what was going on, then we could help promote these things as well. But we don't even know until we read, and we have to read it in the financial report. And otherwise, we're not getting any advance kind of warning, yes, I guess, or notice. Thank you.
Excuse me. Holly had it. You want to respond to that? Or do you want to comment on that?
So as we all know and are aware that 2 of our major positions were unoccupied, if you will, over the summer, which included the outreach coordinator's position and the office administrator. And so some of the things that you will see on the gift fund report will be things that helped make our vegetable garden and everything that was donated from the, I'm sorry, I'm just beside myself. From the Eagle Scout and having those things. So like the plant things and the extra flowers for the lobby area, just to improve the areas where people are finally coming into the senior center and able to engage in things that they enjoy. And a lot of these things were coming from comments that were coming through our receptionists and things like that. So this is where some of these expenses came from. As far as the air conditioners, we purchased 15 of them. And I believe that we have, so when we purchased the 15, we gave away 4. And so we have the 11 left that we're going to store. And a lot of them, actually, no, we did 25 and 10 went to the Shrewsbury Housing Authority. And then we're storing the rest of them in our storage facility. So then when people come back for the spring and summer, we can give those air conditioners out to the people that are requesting them. But they were costly. They were $150 a piece, which we did agree on. And I believe it was in, so this is October, September, August, the August meeting, where we agreed that we would purchase X, Y, and Z amount of air conditioners and to give out. And as I mentioned, we did give them out to the Housing Authority. We do have the vegetable garden that's out here that people have been coming each and every month to either volunteer and take away from the vegetables and take things home from the food sharing pantry. But that's where some of the expenses come from. So I do agree, Louise, that I could, in fact, share the expenses with the entire board a little better than what I've been doing. It's just been super, super hard on my part trying to kind of get out from underneath the COVID and all of those expenses and coming out from having the 2 positions not, being filled and things like that. So I'm sorry.
So
Excuse me,
I just have a
think
quick
Jean had
question.
a hand raised before. Jean, you
Oh,
had a
sorry.
question?
I did. As a new member, I just felt it would be helpful for me, and maybe I need to talk to you about this, Holly, to determine what expenses go under which category. There are so many accounts. I'm not quite sure how each expense gets delineated to which account. And it's a little bit confusing for me.
Sure. So just really quickly. So we have the revolving account where our vans come out of. So the expenses of our vans, and we know that our personal vans. So this is strictly just for our COA vans for the revolving account. And because we have not accepted any fares in the past almost 2 years now, so our revolving account has pretty much been stable. And then we have our regular budget account that it obviously comes from the town. We have the gift account that was established through donations. We have the DOT grant account that came from a grant that was prior to me coming here in 2019. Christine, am I getting any answer?
And do each of the accounts have a specific designation for them?
Yes. So outside of the gift account, so the gift account was originally established where I believe it was going to be split into a quarters. But what we're finding is that the outreach part of it almost accounts for half of it for the things that we're doing, whether it's, replenishing our food sharing pantry, things for our durable medical equipment and things like that. So we really need to discuss more so about the gift fund account.
Thank you.
I have a question, but it's really directed towards Judy, because from a legal perspective, I've always been concerned about two things. One is the warranty of the equipment, and the other is the liability that we have as ones who are actually giving these things away. You want to comment on that, Judy?
Okay, yes and no. I don't really want to be in a position of being this board's legal counsel. Because as an attorney, when you give advice, I would always do research first, even if it's something that I specialize in, which this isn't. But having said that, my off-the-cuff answer, which is not to be considered binding legal advice, is, yeah, there's a liability issue, potential liability issue. I mean, you're talking about like an air conditioner or, you know, what in, yes, if you distribute a product which then turns out to be defective, you are in the chain of distribution and you can potentially be sued. That's my off-the-cuff answer. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. But
I would assume
my
that
question is,
the board and well, hopefully the board has, we have directors and officers coverage, don't we? How did I not ask this question before?
directors of what?
Director, well, it's just called the D&O policy. If the board gets sued, we have insurance, yes? As a director, if you get sued as a director, as a board member, I should say, I would assume there is a policy in place. This is a whole separate conversation. And everybody is giving me a blank stare. This is worrisome.
Yeah.
Holly,
Yes, Holly.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I believe with that, I believe that we fall under the umbrella of whatever the town of Shrewsbury
Oh, of course.
municipality
Okay.
falls under.
Yes, of course. That makes sense.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow what you were saying, Holly. You called upon whom?
No, we
No,
fall
no, I'm
under.
not. Yeah, we're just under the umbrella of the town of Shrewsbury.
Okay. The other question I had was warranty. The air conditioners will be warranted from the time we distribute them or from the time we bought them?
That depends on the manufacturer. Warranties generally run from
A year.
purchase. Yeah, they run from purchase.
So essentially, we purchased them. So next year, we're already 1 year into the warranty if we hand out those air conditioners, correct?
Right. And something also to consider that sometimes the only way you get the warranty is if you send in your purchase notice. That's how the warranty starts. So when something's been sitting now that we've purchased and now it's been there, I don't know if the warranty would still be valid because nothing's been turned in. And
Can I say something?
yeah,
They
Judy?
changed that. Yeah, they changed that rule because people weren't, it was like a catch for the manufacturers to say, oh, it's not under warranty because you didn't send in your little card. So they changed that rule so that it's not required. As long as you
Okay.
can provide a serial number, it's not required. So you don't have to send in the little card or whatever, but yeah, the warranty would generally, it depends on the manufacturer and the warranty, but it generally runs from, purchase.
right. But I mean, most warranties are not more than a year unless there's something stated. So if you purchase them this year and you're not giving them out till July, let's say June of next year, that's past the warranty time. And we don't know, and no one's ever tried those air conditioners out to find out if they're working. I mean, I'm sure all of us have had that horrible moment where you bought something, you forgot you bought it, you go to look at it and you go, oh my God, it doesn't work. And it's too late to send it back. I mean, you hope they're all working. You would hope that, you bought from a reputable distributor, so the items are going to work.
Judy, I have one other question regarding
Yes.
the appliances. We are distributing, like Holly just said, a bunch of them went to the Shrewsbury Housing Authority, the Shrewsbury Towers. Now, who's responsible for the installation? is it going to be plugged into an outlet with other things? Somebody's going to go in there and says, yes, it's been installed correctly, the air vents are not blocked, and so on and so forth. Who's doing that? Holly, you have an answer for that?
So, I mean, I have a general answer. So I did have a letterhead sent to the Shrewsbury Housing Authority when we gifted over the air conditioners, and they are doing the installs as well as the takeouts, and then they're storing them. So they're doing that work. As far as the ones that we're giving out to people that are not housing authority residents or clients, I'm either delivering them to their homes or we're having small home repair help, put them in. But I mean, of course, yes, we did purchase these as the Council on Aging. There is no specific warranty. This was something that was done as an outreach program. So if things aren't working, we can follow up, if one of them is faulty. So yes, that would definitely fall back on us, but this was part of our outreach program that we had decided to do, well over a month ago.
Anybody has any other questions? Or should
Did
we move on?
did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions we can move on to the, I lost my agenda.
We were still on
formula
the
grant? I think
financial
you haven't
reports.
On the
talked about the
financials,
formula
yeah.
If
grant yet.
anybody else has a question on the financial reports, if not, we can move on.
Yeah, the formula grant, I don't know, we talked about that? Did you, Christine?
So I didn't talk about it specifically, but I can do the rundown of the account totals. As I had mentioned before, the formula grant has a note here that this is just an estimate, as we haven't been awarded the funds for fiscal year 22 yet. So going down the list, formula grant estimated at $79,695.88. The DOT grant has $6,412.06. Shared Winter Streets has $14,019.42. Taxi Livery Grant has $14,088.50. The Gift Fund has $27,959.64. The revolving account has $27,872.57. And the general fund has $22,087.95. And Judy and Jean, I can schedule some time to go over the accounts in a little bit more detail with you guys offline, just with what the question you would ask before, what comes out of them and what they're used for and how we fund them. I don't mind taking that time with you guys off.
Thank you.
To go over that.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Louise?
I just had one quick question talking about the gift fund. When Holly, when you said that half of this basically goes out to Renee's job there. Does the town provide anything for outreach at all? Or are we responsible for anything that we do in outreach? And does it all have to come out of the gift fund? Can it not come out of the formula grant or someplace else? Are there any restrictions, I guess?
So thanks, Shashi. So there are no restrictions. However, the formula grant is basically already accounted for before we even start each fiscal year. As far as our general budget that we get from the town, that has nothing to do with any services that we provide. It has to do with how we maintain and keep going forward. So our positions available, our supplies and things like that. So the outreach, unfortunately, falls under different services category. So where we would depend on the Friends of group to, fundraise funds for us. So we could utilize that money for something going forward. So similar to what we did like last year. So when we were paying for the 4 months for the meals or the grab and goes to be paid for, we took that out of the gift fund because that was part of the contributions that were received from the community. And from what I could see prior to that, there were many, many years that the gift fund wasn't actually being utilized. So last year we used 4.5 months, I believe, for free grab and go. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but no, so the town doesn't fund us for our services or anything outside of salaries and maintaining the council on aging as far as we go forward. It has nothing to do with activities, programs, or events, anything like that. So that's where we really like hugely depend on the Friends of to support us.
I think that needs to be explained to them more clearly. I think that, but we've talked about this too, about the relationship between the COA and the Friends.
Yes.
It's very important that we, I don't know, put some emphasis on that to really create that friendship that we used to have, and some way or other it's gotten lost in the shuffle. So the friends are rebuilding, and so I think that they need to have that impetus, that our need for them to raise funds for us. I think that's what I think that they don't understand the necessity of that, because we're going to run out of money at the rate we're spending it from the gift fund. And I'm concerned.
Holly had a question. Holly had a hands raised.
Not so much as a question, but more of a comment to like what Louise is saying. So yes. So one of the things I just want to keep, so everybody keeps in mind, is that the gift fund doesn't make money if it sits there. There's no interest accrued or anything else like that. And the gift fund is created by the generosity of the community giving the money so the senior center and the council on aging can like build. And that's what we've been doing. And COVID has done that to us, where we've had to kind of think outside the boxes, and thank goodness we have a gift fund. I've spoken to many other senior centers around our neighboring communities that they don't even have something like that. So where our Friends of group kind of weren't around during COVID because of obvious reasons. I mean, they're in the spectrum themselves and they're trying to rebuild. We've had to spend money that normally we wouldn't or shouldn't have to spend. But I can tell you that even this morning alone, I spoke with the president of the Friends of, and explained to her the things that I'm expecting as a director for the Council on Aging and for the Senior Center going forward, expectations to help funding with these activities so it doesn't come out of our gift fund. But again, keeping in mind that the gift fund is exactly that, is that it is supposed to give back to the community, and it doesn't make any, like I said, just to repeat myself, it doesn't make interest, it doesn't make money or anything else like that. And people that have given are expecting that is going to go back into the community, which it has. So I think going forward, where we're starting to kind of poke our heads out of the clouds of the COVID clouds, I think that we can expect more donations to come in as we have. We had tremendous amount of contributions when we did the Feed a Senior and things like that. And I will also tell you that there have been people that have come in and have asked me point blank, what have you guys done for the town and why should I give you money? I mean, this happens frequently, but it's hard to explain if we're not actually utilizing funds that are still there. So why should anybody keep contributing? So this is one of the things, is that we have to keep continuing to be proactive And COVID has done that for us. We have to keep going and moving forward. And unfortunately, that means spending money, but it's spending money towards our community.
Judy? I think
Yeah,
Judy has a question.
I do, thanks. Has there ever been a joint meeting of this board and the Friends? And what outreach exists at the present time? Is it Holly just talking to the Friends board every now and then, or is there a designated person from the Council on Aging board that meets with the person with the Friends board? How do they interact?
Louise, can you hold on for a second? Let me, I think Holly wants to answer that question. Were you going to address Judy's concern?
Yeah, so for Judy and Jean, just so you know that I came on January 2020, so less than 2 months prior to COVID shutdown. But in that time, I did meet with the old Friends of group that was established. And unfortunately, you know, some of the members themselves are in the position of being vulnerable. So it was hard for them to kind of come out and be seen. So I've done, I think, what I can consider my best opportunities that I've given the Friends of group to come up with ideas to go forward. And now that we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, we're doing more. So I'll just give you for instance. So the bingo that's happening in October, that originally was going to be a Council on Aging event. And I have met with Maria, the president, a few other times where she has things going forward that we've collaborated ideas going forward. So the Friends of can, in fact, come out of the COVID clouds, if you will, to be seen more. And I'm super happy to report that the Friends are contributing to the monthly newsletter now. So we are doing it. It's just in little steps.
Louise had a question. Louise?
No, I just had hopefully a little understanding. Many years ago, I've been involved with both the COA and the Friends, and was president of the Friends at one time. And I was a guest at the COA every board meeting, and would have an opportunity to be on the agenda to give a report. And so therefore, then a member of the COA would go to the Friends board meetings as well. So we had that interchange, which was really very helpful. And you could bring up questions or concerns that either group had with the other while they were meeting. And I would like to see that put in place again. I think it would be very important for the relationship to build. But this is how, in the past, how it was done.
Judy?
Yeah, thank you, Louise, for the perspective and that. Because if the question is how do we get them, to understand they need to raise money, etc., there needs to be some interaction. I would, again, I'm the newbie, etc., but I would think there should be some interaction between the two groups, and having a Friends person at the board meeting and perhaps having one of us at their board meeting if they would welcome us, I think would be a really, a good way to do it.
Just to jump in a little bit, when I first came on the board about 5 years ago, I remember meetings where there used to be a member, a representative from Friends. And then one day they just stopped showing up, and I don't know why, and who said they couldn't attend, and what I just don't know what happened. Louise might remember what happened, that they stopped coming. Go ahead, Louise.
No, I don't remember why they stopped coming. I don't. But I am currently on the Friends board. I am publicity chair for the group. So then they always give me a chance to give a COA report on that board. But I would like to see someone from the Friends, other than me, come to this board as well. I don't know why that ended, Shashi. I don't remember that at all. No.
Holly?
Shashi, I just want to say that we're only in through the item 4 on the agenda.
Yes, I
and
know. We only have half an hour.
Yeah,
50
and
minutes left.
I would
Yes.
just like to move
Let's
on.
move on. This is, however, participation by the Friends is something that needs to be looked at and thought about, and maybe emails circulated about discussion. But the next item is your director's
Renee.
report, and first item is Renee's report.
So I'd like Renee to start, please.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. We've been doing outreach in various ways, and a lot of the most popular services that we're providing right now is with small home repair. We've got a lot of calls with that. With the seasonality of things, small home repair has been at first installing air conditioners and then removing them for people, as well as doing minor repairs in the home. And fuel assistance is starting to get busy as well. Just in the last month or so, there have been 12 applications, and we expect a lot more. We've also gotten requests for housing and legal help, which, with some of the housing, I've referred over to making applications over at the Housing Authority, as well as giving people housing resources through Mass Housing, which they can make an application on their own for housing throughout the state, as well as legal help. People have called because maybe landlords are evicting them. I've had just a couple of those, and usually it's because someone has died, the landlord has died, and the family wants to sell the home. So, giving, legal resources that people can turn to for tenant rights. And then also programming. We've had some great programs going on, and going forward, we do have our grief and loss support program that's been meeting, and we started 2 new groups. One is basically a continuation of the support group services, but we just formalizing it, having people register and having a minimum number of or maximum number of participants so that we can manage the group better, and with more specific topics to help people bring subjects along. The new group that's going to be starting is on October 21st. That's completely new people to bring them along in the grief process altogether. These are being facilitated with Dr. Kathleen Kreider and myself. We have requests at the Housing Authority to be more interactive there. And I've been informed that, there have been a little bit of community tension at Francis Gardens with a little bit of not bullying, but people not getting along, and it could turn into something. So I've arranged for the district attorney office outreach person to conduct creating a caring community programs, one at Towers, one at Francis Gardens. It's kind of an anti-bullying program. And this is the person whom contacted me because I was doing the movie at the library, and he did a tabling event there at the movie and handed out his information. I handed out my information, made people aware of that program, and we decided that we could do some programs together in the community. Also, we had a program in October on smartphone basics, and we're going to continue to have that in November and December to help residents better work their smartphones so that they can communicate better with their families, things like that. Fallon is coming in November as well to discuss updates in Medicare and Medicare Advantage programs that they offer, as well as SYFS. We're partnering with them to do a weekly Living Your Life Well program. It's a drop-in weekly where people can come in and discuss things of interest to them, anything from relationships to conflict resolution or, personal social media literacy, that sort of thing. I'm trying to start a Savvy Caregiver program for caregivers of persons with Alzheimer's or related dementia. If we get enough participants, I need 8 people, then we can start that. It's a 6-session program, probably at the end of October or into November. Also, I made contact with Vivian Dumas at ESWA. She's going to be attending the triad meetings. So, we'll get some representation there, as well as a person from Protective Services. We're also, I also made contact with Family Services of Central Mass. They are a mediation service agency through Seven Hills Foundation. So if ever we're in need of mediation services, they do provide that for free. Lucas, our intern, we have a program going with him that he's going to be trying to get the Yahoo program going. And that's to help provide services, if we get the grant, to seniors in the community for, raking and cleanup and that sort of thing in the fall, and maybe snow shoveling in the winter. We have been getting requests from people asking for, do we provide a program for snow shoveling and plowing resources, which we don't have right now. So that's what we're looking to look into. I also made contact with the Shrewsbury Rotary Club. I attended their monthly social gathering on October 4th, and we hope to partner with them. They said they're open to helping us with any projects that we might come up with. And there was a speaker there who was a past, and I wish I could remember his name now. I have it written down in another notebook that I brought. He was a speaker. He was a former chair or board member of the India Society. So he introduced us to what they're doing over there. And they're hoping to develop some partnerships with the Rotary. And we also, I talked to him about maybe us taking a tour over there and, working with them on some things in the future. So that's pretty much it. Yep.
So I have a question, particularly when it comes to this time of year when this is the beginning season for open enrollment. And I'm only going to put my soon possibly to be Shine counselor. I'm kind of curious why you would ask Fallon, because unless they have a Shine counselor there, I'm not too sure if they would be aware of the fact that there's a whole new bunch of new massive Medicare Advantage programs, not to mention UMass has a whole new Medicare Advantage program. So why wouldn't we tap into the Shine counselor who actually is listed in your in the bulletin to do something like that, because they would have an impartial view of programs as opposed to Fallon.
Okay, so Fallon they're basically doing an update to what their offerings are now, and they did this in the past. So, the representative connected with me saying we did this program in the past, and it's just to inform people on the updates. Now, I think Holly is working on with our Shine person to do kind of an overall program. We don't recommend any specific insurance program, of course, and it's just a resource for people to see, what the updates are.
Right, I understand
Holly,
that.
did you have something to say?
Oh, okay.
Did you want to say something, Holly?
No, I think Renee is covering it fine.
Okay. I do have a question for you, Renee.
Sure.
Based upon what Virginia is asking is, this is the time of year when we have to select a new plan.
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, and I'm sure most of you, that there's such a huge choice to make to evaluate each plan. How are the seniors being helped to do this? How are they
So-
being helped to do this?
So people make requests of me, or they're referred to me by, the front desk reception when people have a question. And, typically I refer them, they need to speak to the Shine person. They need to make an appointment with that person.
Yeah.
The people at the front desk have her schedule. And I think that it would be great. I know, Virginia, you're working on getting certified because there's only so much time she has to go around. So we only schedule a month out. We can't schedule any more
Right.
than that in advance, because then it
Yeah.
would be unfair to people. So we wait till the newsletter is coming out. People can then make those appointments.
Yeah.
And it's limited. So it would
Yeah.
be great if we had more Shine representatives to do that.
Yeah.
Holly, do
And
you
I
have
agree.
something
And
to
I'm
add
sorry, I
to
don't
that?
want to take up Holly's time, but it's really important, because also as you start to, I know, and part of our goal is to be more inclusionary to individuals in our community who are just turning 65 and have no clue of the complexity of Medicare and the crazy Medicare rules. So the extent to which we can take advantage, and I can even loop in now to all the new people who are becoming Shine counselors that are willing to help. They don't necessarily just have to help one location. The goal is to help multiple locations. So, may not be able to get a lot done this year, but certainly something to start planning, because even into the beginning part of January, February, March, you still can be doing some transitioning into programs depending on the time frame of the person.
Mhm, mhm.
Before we go any further, may I ask the board members to keep your comments, the participants, to keep your comments brief, because once you start expounding and explaining, it gets to be long-winded. Judy has been raising her hand for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, very quick question. And I'm sorry, it is a personal question. I'm 64. I'm going to be 65 in April. So I'm right in this group, and I need to make an appointment with the Shine counselor and, sort it all out.
Mhm.
My question is, as a board member, I'm utilizing, the senior center. Is there any sort of a conflict? Or, I'm also a citizen of Shrewsbury. Anybody have a problem?
No, all meetings are confidential, any services that we provide. So no.
Oh, I realize that. I'm just saying, is it okay as a board member to take advantage of the programs of the senior center? Is
You're
that
just
okay?
like any resident, you can do that.
Okay,
Holly,
just making sure.
Holly had her hands raised.
Yes. So thank you, Shashi. So one of the things that we obviously notice, and we notice it at the same time every single year, is the plans change coming in October, and everybody starts to panic and they need the information. So I have, as well as Christine, has been working very closely with our Shine coordinator, Nancy Schwartz, and through much convincing, she is willing to, donate some more of her time for the month of November. So where we normally only have 2 sessions at 3 hours, 45 minutes apiece, in November, she's giving 4 times a month, from 9 to 12, and they're still 45 minutes. So they're a little bit more. And every time somebody calls, and of course, we understand that this is, not an easy process to go through, but we do have the phone numbers where people can still call outside of the hours that we're allotting for time to meet here at the senior center. So it is available, but I do agree that, it would be fantastic if once Virginia, if you're able to become a Shine counselor yourself, if you were able to give some hours to the senior center, maybe perhaps in the evenings, because I know it is a scary kind of transition, but we are working towards making it better. I don't know what happened prior to me getting here. I'm just trying to figure it out as we're all going along. We're all doing this at the same time.
Yeah.
I have a general question to all of you. What happens to people who have care partners or caregivers, and because they themselves are unable to either come here, or they're in the early stages of dementia, cannot make a choice? I mean, do they know, do the care partners then get in touch with Shine and go through the analysis? What happens? Holly.
Yeah. So again, this is where the phone numbers come into play. The Shine it comes out of just Milford. Is it Milford? in Massachusetts, I believe. So
Yes, that's our region.
yeah. So, I mean, it comes right out of there. So there are plenty of people that we can arrange meetings with. And if if Nancy is unavailable, I have no problem making phone calls in someone's behalf to make that, whole opportunity easier. It just takes time.
Jean? Unmute, please. No, you're still muted. It's a little microphone at the
Okay,
bottom.
sorry. Would it make sense to put something into the newsletter indicating that caregivers have the option of contacting the senior center for whomever they're giving care so that they could meet with a Shine person in the home?
Holly?
So I believe if you went through the newsletter, it's 16, 15 pages of information, and it's in there pretty much every single month. We recommend, if people have questions, to call the senior center or ask for me directly, or outreach coordinator Renee, and we'll definitely get that information to them. So,
Okay.
We're here and ready to assist. People just need to reach out if they have questions.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment that your recent newsletter you just are sending out is really comprehensive. I mean, it's jam-packed with information. So hopefully people will take the time to read it, but it is jam-packed with a lot of really great information.
Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate that. Shashi, if I may, just so we can keep going.
Yeah, we need to move on because we only have about 25 minutes left. Not even, 24. The next item on the agenda is a strategic plan, which we're going to talk about, Holly.
Sure. So first of all, I want to thank everybody that came to the last strategic plan meeting that we had, just to kind of go over new revisions and edits and things like that. Since our meeting, I have met with Kevin Mizikar, town manager, as well as assistant town manager Kristen Loss. And so the town is looking to do its own strategic plan. And so what they suggested was to not worry so much about us meeting as frequently as we had previously discussed. However, still going forward and still crossing off the goals that were established in the original 2019 strategic plan, which I think, if we all look at it, we've done a remarkable job in the 2 years, as well as still moving forward with new goals where we've already kind of sat there and discussed. But what they don't want is for us to spend too much time on it, not knowing where the new company is going to come from and what their vision is going to be. So again, in no way do we stop moving forward with our strategic plan. It's just a little bit of like pumping the brakes a little bit, so we don't get ahead of ourselves in case we have to backpedal going forward.
So does that mean that the town is going to develop a vision, and then each entity within the town is percolating down to each of us or each group in terms of now put your strategic plan within the framework of the town? Wouldn't we have a different, shouldn't each place have its own individual look at how they're doing things, and then it feeds up into the town? I guess I'm trying to just understand the stratosphere, so to speak, of this whole process.
So I would assume that it would be something similar to that, but unfortunately I don't have the answers to that. I only just met with Kevin and Kristen last week. And at that time they were still figuring out which company that they were going to work for to develop that strategic plan. So this is still just something very early on in the makings. But what they did say was continue on doing the things that we're doing. We can still discuss them. But like I was ready to be gung-ho and just move forward and revamp the whole thing. But they're just having us, like I said, pump the brakes a little bit so we don't do work that, will not be needed.
So they're hiring consultants. They have, like, do they have an RFP out for consultants to come in and do it, or have they hired consultants to do the strategic plan?
And again, this is all just something that's in the works. I assume that I'll get more information right now. I think they're at the final stages of whatever
Of
their
selecting? Okay.
plan is. Yeah, and they'll let us know. And as soon as they send out something, I will send it to the board, just so
Okay,
we're all
that
on
makes
the same
sense.
page.
Just one final comment. I think we ought to keep in the back of your mind that the EOEA also has its own strategic plan. And we got to keep that in mind when we try to meld the two higher authorities, so to speak.
Yep. So Shashi, I completely agree. And just so you know, I have been in contact with EOEA to kind of give me an updated, to take place of what was originally given to us in 2019 and, give us a new one for the years that we're in, and they're working on it. They gave us something that seems like it was from their annual report, but it doesn't really fit into our strategic plan. So I have reached out to them and asked for them to relook at it, to revise it so it meets specifically Shrewsbury. But again, this is all going to be, so now it's kind of a waiting game. I'm waiting for them to get back to us.
Shall we go on to the next topic, which is
Yes. Yes, please.
which is in Holly's court, I think?
Yeah, so it's the director's report. So talking about FY22 programs, and one of the things that the entire staff and I have looked at is that, now with COVID, more things are being done through, our phones and laptops and things like that. So we decided to come up with just a couple of things or programs that would indiscreetly kind of teach people how to use their phones. So I'm actually going to give this over to Christine because she has done a remarkable job with what we're calling the hibernation month of November with the bear hunt. So I'm just going to let Christine take it over.
So attached in the emails with the meeting documents was the flyer. So as Holly said, we're doing a Shrewsbury bear hunt for the month of November, where we're hiding is probably not the right word. We're placing 10 signs around town to encourage people to get outside, hopefully walk the trails in the park, and to use their phone to connect and to figure out how those weird block QR code things work. So each sign has a bear, and I put little trivia facts on them to make them a little more interesting. And on each of the signs is a QR code. So you use your phone, your camera app, you go like you're going to take a picture of it, and hopefully something will pop up and you'll follow that link, and it'll bring you to a form where you can submit your information, or you can do it physically on a piece of paper. And on each of those forms is some bonus content, including some YouTube videos, a recipe, a live feed. I don't want to give away too much because I don't want you guys to figure out what the bears are. And then at the end of the month, for everyone that's completed and found all 10 bears, we have some prizes that we'll award for participating.
Kind of Pokemon Go for seniors or the town or?
Thank you, Christine. Good job.
Very good. Very good.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
really, really fantastic. She couldn't have done a better job if she had tried.
Yes,
So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be super fun, and we're involving other departments to get involved with that. So moving on to the Veterans Luncheon, I can't wait until this happens, to be honest. So we have Representative Hannah Kane coming to assist with the whole luncheon line, if you will. So when Napoli's comes in, they bring us the food, they're dropping it off, and we have to package it all together and have it ready for the pickups. And we have a few deliveries, but I would invite any one of the board members, if you want to come that morning on November 10th. Probably, I think it's being delivered between 11 and 11:30, and we really just need to package it and then have it ready so people can start picking it up between 1 and 2. We've hired a band, a wartime band, to play in the lobby area. just to kind of make it more noticeable and less awkward, I guess, for people to walk in and really represent what we want to do with the veterans, group, and to really show them that we appreciate everything that they've done. I can only hope that, following this year, we'll be able to do something a little bit more elaborate. But I would invite all of the board members November 10th to, if you can come here, every hand is, wanted, to help dish out the meals and have them ready so when they show up that they can have those. So, and I would suggest that you be here by 11 o'clock that morning. Any questions on the Veterans Luncheon? Okay. Going forward, so one of the things that is on one of my goals going forward for fiscal year 22, and I believe on what is on all of my staff's goals, is to really kind of reach out to outside businesses / organizations to provide services with the other people that are doing exactly what we're doing, just trying to reach out to the community. So Whittier Rehabilitation in Westboro has been, really forthcoming in wanting to reach out to our seniors. So we'll have a fall prevention program, which is, I'm sure that if you looked through the November newsletter, you would have seen that. So what we also decided was we're going to start, just because, with COVID being uncertain, what we've decided here at COA and Senior Center is to start recording the programs that we're offering. So that way we can record them and then show them on our regular Shrewsbury cable stations as well as YouTube. So instead of it just being an hour-long presentation at the Senior Center, it's an hour-long presentation spread throughout. So it's on social media, it's on our cable, it will be on our website. Whittier will share it, and one of the things that they agreed to was to make sure that our COA logo, the sunflower, was attached to their materials also, so we can get the recognition and just make those relationships, because I think that that's how you better build the businesses as it is. Does anybody have any questions on the fall prevention?
So they're actually going to do something on site.
Yep. So they're coming.
Okay.
So they're coming to the Senior Center, and I've already contacted our cable station. They're ready to go. They're going to be recording. So even if nobody shows up, they're ready to present. Mm-hmm. People that are, if seniors decide to show up, we'll let them know that the presentation is going to be recorded and it will be played on the cable stations. But we just decided that it was time to really provide more of a social media outreach, if you will, with the things that we're trying to do inside. So maybe somebody doesn't want to come, but they'll watch it on TV. We're still reaching those same people.
Right.
All right. We have about 12 minutes left.
So I can power through this, Shashi, if you let me.
Go ahead.
Okay, so for director's report, item D, grants and contributions updates. So the nutrition program. So where unfortunately we had to throw away a lot of the items that were in our food pantry. And in which cases, where you saw on the reports that Christine gave us earlier, that we had to replenish some of those items. And I'm still working with St. Anne's Food Pantry to get additional items and donations. And as you can imagine, because it is October, they're getting ready for a very, very busy winter as far as, giving away food. So our nutrition program is still well. I do believe that, I know, Louise, I've seen you as well as some of your friends for some of your games that you show up. So what we decided to do to kind of show people and showcase the fact that we have this food sharing pantry is we put a table out as soon as you walk in through the main area of the Senior Center. And it allows people to take items from that table and to kind of show what's going on and to let them know that we do have some food from Heart to Home Meals from Marlboro that's available. We allow people to take a couple of items in a small bag. Because what I was hearing, and I was surprised to hear it, is that a lot of people didn't realize that we had a food sharing program, which made me realize that, okay, so even though we put it in the newsletter every month, we need to showcase the fact that we have, and now people will know. So this table won't be out for a long duration. I am thinking just for the month of October. And we are working to create a flyer so we can ask for requests for donations so we can refill those, because keep in mind that the food sharing pantry is not only supplemental, it's emergency for police and fire, for anybody that's in the town of Shrewsbury, and that includes families. So we wanted to make sure if that's what, in fact, we're offering, we had food to give. So, which is why we went ahead and purchased some additional food until we've made that connection with St. Anne's Food Pantry. The taxi livery grant is the money that we are able to provide rides during, after our regular business hours, which are typically Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. But this grant also allows people to go even to places that we don't normally drive to. So for instance, we had a request last week from somebody that wanted to take a ride over to the Northborough Senior Center because they really enjoyed some of the programs that were going over there. And to engage our community, because of this grant, we have the ability to give those people the rides over there at no cost to them. So the taxi livery grant has really, really been great. So originally we had asked for 40,000, and because of COVID, we haven't spent as much as what I would like to have spent. So we still have, I believe, about 10,000 left in the first 20,000. So I would encourage anybody that's watching and let people know that we have this grant available. But keep in mind that when you get picked up, there is some responsibility on yourself, because it's through Yellow Cab or Safeway Luxury Transportation. So you will actually have to make a different phone call outside of us to get that free ride. But I would encourage you to just call us. Cynthia Willis, our transportation coordinator, is fantastic. She can walk everybody through it. And I would say utilize it while we can, because it's going away on, again, March 31st. The Shared Winter Streets grant, as we had talked about a little bit earlier, we did have to reorder some scoops and shovels and vests. What we found was there wasn't exactly enough ordered for everybody, but people from the Shrewsbury community were reaching out to us, really wanting to utilize this grant that was available. So we thought it was very, very important to make sure that we had those things available to give back. And what I loved hearing was people showing up to the senior center and just being in awe of the fact that we were giving these items away for free. And even though it's for free from us, it took time from the grant. So, but, they were super, super happy to receive these things, and they got them early so they can prepare for the winter months and go forward for that. So we are super happy with that grant that came through. The next one is the Stop and Shop Blooming for Good. So somebody in Shrewsbury, and I just wanted to say thank you to whomever did this, reached out to the Stop and Shop and asked for the Council on Aging / Senior Center to be part of the Blooming for Good. And so whenever a bouquet is purchased with the Senior Center's sticker on it, the Senior Center receives donations.
Nice.
So yeah, so one month I believe we raised just under 100, and 1 month I believe we raised over 150. So all of those contributions come in, and we use that for our food pantry. So whoever did that, we thank you very, very much. And so if there's no questions on that, I'm just going to keep going. Is that okay? Okay, here we go. So the American Rescue Plan Act. So the ARPA grant is a grant that's given to the town of Shrewsbury, and there's X amount of dollars, and the town manager's office came back to each department and said, give us 2 things that you would like to utilize for your department. They're going to talk about it, and then they'll vote on which ones get accepted. So for the Council on Aging, I did another nutrition program. So similar to the ones that we paid for last year, what I requested was for the month of November to the end of April is to have the grab and go items paid for entirely. And Christine and I looked at the invoices that we did for the years before. So we kind of appropriated it to about $1,500 a month. So there's no, I don't know if that's been accepted yet, but that's what I put forward to the town, as well as for a marketing coordinator. And the marketing coordinator would basically take over the newsletter and social media flyers and things like that. And the reason being is, as much as I love putting together the newsletter, it takes 20 to 25 hours out of my time every single month. It's a lot, and there's a lot of revising. So between those two, the nutrition program and the marketing coordinator, if they were to be accepted by the town, this would be for 4 years. This is not just 1 year. This is for 4 years. So now I've submitted those two requests to the
Excuse
town.
me, Holly,
Yeah.
is this marketing coordinator going to be a position in the department, or is
So
it a
it'll be-
volunteer?
So it'll be a paid position through the grant for 4 years. So what we did was we broke it down to about, I believe it was like 25 to 30 hours a month. And so it would be each month for 25 to 30 hours for the next 4 years. After 4 years, we need, if it's all working out, we need to get creative to figure out how that stays. So I guess for me, it's a waiting game, because if it gets accepted, then I have to think about, after 4 years, what do we do and how do we keep it going? Because it really is, we have 40,000 people in town, almost 10,000 seniors, 2,500 newsletters right now for a 16-page newsletter. And there's been requests to up our newsletter to 20 pages. That is just something that I don't have in my time frame to do. And once upon a time, prior to COVID, we had the volunteers that worked with us to do it. And there were 15, 30 people that were helping. Unfortunately, things have changed. People have gotten ill, people have passed, and that's just not the way it's happening, which is why I requested a marketing coordinator to help me out with this piece. So it can allow me to engage myself more into the senior center and not just at the desk while I'm doing the newsletter. Although I love doing the newsletter, I have to say, we get suggestions and comments and, critiques and things like that. And I welcome them. But basically the newsletter is done by yours truly. So it's just a lot. It's a lot to take on. Any questions on any of that?
Nutrition support, is that going to be a new position also?
No. So the nutrition support, if it goes the way I would like it to go for the next 4 years, just as I said. So this is, from my understanding, this grant that we're under is for the next 4 years, would be, again, November to April, free grab and goes, or however we want to put that in for not only this year, but the next 3 years, from my understanding. Now, if I misunderstood what I've been told, I apologize, but I believe that that's what it will be. But prior, to the year before, where the COA paid for all of those, we would not have to pay for those going forward, because we spent almost $5,000 in food. So that's what that nutrition support is.
Holly, are we coordinating this with Elder Services nutrition program?
So I did speak with Elder Services, so they are aware that I did put this into play, that this is a possibility, and they just asked that I keep them posted, because obviously it increases the amount of food that they need. So, they'll be prepared for it. But until I hear otherwise, or from, the town manager's office, it's just a waiting game at this point.
Louise had a question.
Yeah, I just was wondering, this has to be approved by the town?
This is, so there is a panel, I believe, and I believe that there's 4 people on it, which includes the town manager, assistant town manager, and I believe 2 or 3 other people that go through all of the department requests. And you could get both approved, you could get 1 approved, you could get none approved, depending upon the submissions that came in from all of the other departments. So again, it's just like any other grant. You submit and you wait to just see if you've been accepted.
Do you have an idea of when they're going to make this decision?
I believe it's in October, but I do not have a date. I don't have a date for that, but I just wanted to let everybody aware that that's what I, submitted for.
Because I was going to bring up the subject about the newsletter, and I'm happy to hear that this is a possibility that we had talked about originally.
Well,
with increasing the, so we cannot increase the pages until you know if this is a grant for sure.
Well, not necessarily. So keep in mind that when I submitted to have this contract done with LPI out of Rhode Island to have the newsletter formatted, the newsletter went from, I think it was 6 pages, and then it went up to 16 pages. And so that's a lot of content to be had. But I think that, and I appreciate Virginia, you mentioning that you really liked the November newsletter that's going out. I think, Louise, that you'll also be pleased if you really look at it. I increased the font.
Yes,
I decreased the amount of extra content that was in there. And what I'm also doing is every single month I ask and request from other departments and outside organizations to send me X, Y, and Z on a specific date. And this month I just stuck with it because it's too much to do editing and changing things around. So unfortunately, there were some departments that will see that their things didn't get put into it, but I need to stick with it so I can, stay doing what I was paid to do as a, director of council on aging. So I hope that you all really like the November newsletter. I tried to take everybody's comments into effect, and just so everybody knows, what I'm planning for the month of December is to recap the last 2 years and everything that the Council on Aging has done while we've been under COVID, and that includes just statistics. So that's going to primarily be the December newsletter. I just want to, update everybody because I think it's really important to keep everybody on the same page and show what we've done, even when we were working at home. So if anybody has anything that they want to add to that December newsletter, please feel free to send it to me. I need it by the 10th of every month. But does anybody have any other questions regarding anything that I just spoke about? I'm just looking at the time. So it's 10:33. So this one is really easy. So number 6. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information to give back, only because Cynthia did take a vacation, which was much deserved. So I'm glad that she was able to spend some time with her family and get away and not
I have a question about 6. Is there any changes, updates, improvements to route match?
Not necessarily. So one of the goals from our part-time worker, Pat Babin, who works 18 hours. So one of her goals is to learn how to do the scheduling, because right now it's done through Cynthia and Donna Messier. But one of Pat's goals is to learn how to do the scheduling also, in case one of them or both of them are not here. She's able to do that. So we're still working through route match. I'm bound and determined to just make sure that this is the best software for the town of Shrewsbury, and make sure that we're not missing on something else, because it does seem as though we're not able to achieve some things, and it's not because of the staff. It's because of the guidelines of the way Root Match does it, and they want more money. And before we give out more money, I want to make sure that there's not something else better that's available to us, keeping in mind that we are the largest town around that offers this transportation. So I want to make sure that before we change anything, we're changing it for the better, or how do we better utilize it, and what kind of agreement can we come under Root Match, which is now based out of Uber, to make sure that we're getting our money's worth. So it's just takes a little bit of homework that we're trying to figure out. And but I don't want to just jump the gun. I want to make sure that we're taking our time, because I don't want to make changes that will hurt us for sure.
Now, where Root Match is concerned, is there any maintenance costs that we have to deal with? Like
Not
maintenance
so much.
of the iPads?
No, not so much maintenance. I mean, there are things that, behind the scenes that Cynthia has to keep up with, as far as advancements in rebooting the technology that we have. They have not increased the prices yet. But that is one of the, and I stress yet, which is one of the reasons why I want to make sure that we're doing our homework and making sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. But I am fully confident in the fact that Cynthia has done an amazing job working through it. It's not an easy, as well as Donna, Pat, and our receptionist, because it is really like a 7-person job back here when people start calling and canceling and things like that. So, it is something that we're looking for, towards improving. It's just on how we're going to do it.
I'm sorry, I have to jump off, but I have to say again, I'm just repeating myself, but really everyone should take a look at the newsletter. I think Holly's done a great job in terms of really drilling down to make any make any of the articles that she's talking about easy to read. Any of us that's ever done education, Louise would know this, is like people only can keep so much information. So it's like grabbing everybody. So, it's really going in a good direction, and having a marketing coordinator that can help you, even continue to build on that is a great idea.
Thank you.
For other things that you're trying to really get the word out to the community, to let everybody know what's going on. And that'll only help the community, help us as well, because it'll increase traffic as you're able to increase traffic.
Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate that.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
Is there anything else that anyone needs to discuss before we adjourn? Someone make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Who'll second it?
Second.
Betsy, in favor?
Yes.
Adjourn? Judy, in favor?
Yes.
Louise?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
I think the meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. I
Bye.
appreciate it. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes,
Bye
it's
all.
supposed to be a nice day.